Welcome back, everyone. So today we're going to take a look at the potential medical changes coming with this medical recharging. I've got most of the ships here, and I think I only missed one, the Garrick, but I'll show a picture of this sneak peek that they had from end of last week for I Need Recharge, and it does appear to be related to these medical kind of areas. Now, I didn't really notice these very much until the TAC came out, but I think this has been open in the nurse set that we're looking at here first. It's been, I think, available here the whole time. You can see these kind of two module areas. You can, it looks like these things that are below in the recharging station could fit in these. So that is what we're going to be focusing on today. We look into the C8R here. We'll also notice that, again, these first few ships are all tier 3s. Actually, all of these ships that I'm showing here are going to be tier 3, except for the Anvil Terrapin, aka the Metapin. And so looking here, again, you can see the two module sections. But the card reader is actually up top, which is interesting. So I don't know if we'll just be recharging the card and putting it in there. It does have a green hue to it, so I don't know if it'll be similar to the green goo. I do think, and I do think, that the overall resource regen that we're working on is going to come out and correlate to, or kind of lead into, this whole change with medical gameplay needing a recharge system. The large question I have is, and so we'll look into the Cuddy Red here. It doesn't have, and I'm going to lose this very quickly in September because I don't actually own the Cuddy Red. I'll have to consider pledging for that if I do want to keep it, but you can see the panels are actually on the side of the bed here instead of being anywhere else. This just appears to be where they have them. So at least that's, I'm assuming, where they'll go, because they do nicely fit and there are two of them. So it does appear to be more than likely where you'll be doing the medical recharge for the C8R, unless they decide to put them somewhere else. That those just appear to be the good spots for them on this particular ship. But going back to my original point, it seems almost like having the number of beds is going to be more of a benefit than the type of bed. And so we'll have to see. We're now getting into the first tier 2 bed here. And unfortunately, the medical Terrapin, even though you just have to kind of steal the capability from the C8R, it doesn't have the ability to modify or open these panels. So they'll have to definitely redo the panel here on this one if they want to take this live. But this should be, I would imagine, a pretty quick fix, given they just have to take it from the C8R. But again, the first one we looked at there, that Terrapin, is the first tier 2 bed. And so what benefits could that tier 2 bed have over the tier 3? Obviously it can heal better injuries, but there's only 2 terminals there, just like all the other beds. And so will it really offer any extra capabilities? Does it cost less goo for healing in a tier 2 bed? Can you do more respawns? I'm thinking possibly, as you see, there's just 2 terminals here. I noticed this in the TAC when it first came out, but they all have 2 terminals. And so the question is, there's tier 3 beds here. So with these beds here, if you have a tier 3, does it take more goo to do respawning or do medical care compared to like a tier 2? Is it the tier 2 more conservative with how much goo it's using, or whatever it is that it's using as far as this resource is concerned? Let me know what you think down below. I would expect a tier 2 bed to offer obviously better care, but also be able to possibly concentrate and use that resource a bit better. I did get an 890 with the boarding action progress, and I don't own the 890, and I was not able to find anywhere in the bed area that I could potentially put these terminals. So it's unfortunate, but that just appears to be the case with the 890. Looking at the Polaris, it, however, is the only tier 2 bed that I could actually find that had the option for, again, putting in these terminal things that could be coming. In that picture, you'll notice there's kind of a card in the middle of these little terminals. So I don't know if it's just the card we'll be working with. That would make more sense to me, considering some of these have a card in a separate spot, especially some of those Anvil ships, whereas the other ones just have a spot for the terminal. So maybe you just take the card in, recharge that, and then head back out to the bed. But again, as I was talking about before, the volume of beds appears to be the better case here over just having a certain tier, because now we'll be having the Apollo coming out. It seems like the 6 tier 3 beds will be the better option across the 2 modules if the volume of the care is not meaningfully different as far as respawn. So if the respawn takes a whole card's worth, like a whole resource bed's worth of resources, then I can see how a tier 2 bed could be advantageous to have with you, or a tier 1, because it can heal all wounds. But anyways, I don't know. Let me know what you think down below. But when I looked in the Idris here, there really isn't a lot going on in, it's got a really good medical facility, but there's nowhere to put these particular cards. So I looked all around this particular Idris, and, well, at least in the medical section, and just no access currently for these. So we'll have to do a big change here. you know, these are all tier 3 beds here, but there are these maintenance areas above, so possibly they swap these out for a place to put the cards. That could be a place to put them, but on the tier 1 side they don't have these medical panels, so it's something they'll have to continue to look through, and we'll have to see how they rework these. But let me know what you think. I'm not sure 100% what to think with this. I do think this is good to have a resource. You know, just being able to do endless medical isn't necessarily ideal, and it doesn't really add much to medical gameplay, so I'm very interested to see how they launch this out. Potentially as early as next month, that they do mention medical changes are coming, and I suspect these changes will go live around the time the Apollo does. Looking back at the Nursa video, you know, obviously it talks about having a lot of respawns. A lot of our characters have already done a lot of respawns. It isn't necessarily saying you're going to have infinite respawns with that particular ship, but it just indicates you could do a lot with it. So anyways, let me know what you think. I appreciate y'all taking time to watch the video, and I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.